Okay, usually Patches either does one or two things when she leaves the land of Hideous. She either wanders off and gets lost. You're right. Or she does it on purpose, which is more than likely what she does. Well, this time she definitely did it on purpose. She was out of the land of Hideous. She had actually left the land of Hideous. That's kind of like in the movie The Lion King when Simba and Nola had actually left and went out to the outer perimeter when they knew they weren't supposed to go there. They went there because they wanted to see an elephant graveyard. Well, it's kind of what Patches did. Except this is real. This is not a cartoon. Even though you could picture it as a cartoon. But it's not. She was out there when she knew she was not supposed to be. Everything was going good until two potential snitches showed up. Well, they were her friends. They wouldn't snitch, but they would bug her. Her friend Red, the cardinal bird Red, showed up, and her friend Beeve, the beaver. Okay? Beeve the beaver, Red the cardinal. What you doing out here? You know you aren't supposed to be out here. Well, you're not supposed to be out here either. Well, I'm looking for worms, and I think I found her. Now get your worm butt back on the land, Miss Patches. That's what Cardinal said, because you know cardinal birds look for worms. And Beaver laughed. Beef. Oh, every time he gets emotional, you know those beavers have those like flat tails. He always hits his tail like. I love it. And then Red said, "Come home, come on back. The same thing's gonna happen to you. This time it might not be a bear trap. It might be the jaws of a crocodile or an alligator or something. Do you think you can handle that?" She says, "Come on, loosen up. Do you know that it might be possible that we could make everywhere on this whole planet just like where we live at if we just have an open mind?" Cardinal said, "You know what? One time I flew outside of the land and I landed on this telephone pole and I heard these little teenage humans talking like that. Talking like, let's be free, let's go out and see the world. Let's fly." Now, they couldn't fly at all. Actually, the reason they were acting that way is because they were smoking that, what they call marijuana. They were getting so high, but they still were not leaving the ground. I was wondering, how in the hell is that possible? Oh my gosh. Boom. You know, this bird, Red, was very practical. and then Patches said, "You guys are party poopers. I'm going to just exploring. If you want to come with me, cool, but you better not snitch on me." And then Beav is like, "Oh, come on." Beav doesn't talk that much. The beaver, he doesn't talk that much. But when he does, he has something cool to say. Something reasonable. "Oh, come on. Do friends snitch on each other? Don't answer that." No. Of course they wouldn't snitch on her. Then all of a sudden they heard a scream out of nowhere. And then her eyes opened, Patch's eyes opened, and the bird started flapping his wings. And then Beav, he like tapping his tail like, "Where is that coming from?" And they ran and through the woods, and they looked through this tree and looked out in this valley and seen this cabin burning and hearing people screaming. And then she's like, "Oh my gosh." Patches just says, "Oh my gosh." And then Patches started running towards the cabin because the cabin was on fire. Now, this was not the cabin of Mr. Man. No, this was another cabin. Staying inside of this cabin, never mind, I'm not going to say who it was until I get to the end of the story. And then Beav and Red said, "We've got to go back. We've got to go get help." So they ran and flew back to get help. And so Patches ran down to the cabin, and this Caucasian man came out of the cabin with this woman, and she wasn't Caucasian, she was black. And they came out like, oh no, our babies are inside, oh my God. And then Patches looked at them, and then they looked down at Patches. They were both standing in front of the doorway, right? And then the man was trying to get back inside of the cabin because the house was burning, because their babies were still inside of the cabin. I said the house was burning, but the cabin. But he couldn't because the flames were too high. And then they looked down at Patches and noticed there's a wolf there. And Patches looked up at them, and they looked down at Patches. They're like, oh, and then Patches like, oh, she howled and she ran and dove through the door, broke the door down. It wasn't hard because the door was burnt up. And then all of a sudden, they noticed that the cabin started to burn down. These two people, this black woman and this white man, and they stepped back and the cabin started to burn down, and they seen something coming out of the midst of the smoke. There was Patches, and she had wrapped inside this little blanket, holding in her mouth these two little tiny babies. And when she got up to them, to the two parents of the baby, she gently put it down on the ground, and the blanket came open, and there were these two little twins. One was a little boy and one was a little girl. And when I say tiny, I mean these babies were tiny. And they were like, the babies were still alive, and they were like, oh. And then the man slowly tried to touch Patches on the ear, and then Patches was like this. She was like, and then the man touched her on the ear. He says, thank you, boy. Thank you, boy. And she's like, boy? You just called me a boy. And she says, maybe I ought to lay down and play dead and, so he can see I'm not a boy. Come on. And so, come to find out, Patches was a national hero. And these two people, that the babies that Patches saved, were the babies of celebrities. And those two people that were, the white man and the black woman, they were celebrities. They were superstars. They were like a famous actor and famous actress, So, cool. Patches really wanted to leave. She did, but she went back to the land of Hideous. And some of them were happy about what she did, but others of them were not. Not because she saved the baby or anything, no, but because getting all this notoriety might actually make people try to search where Patches is from, and then that might make people come and discover their hidden location, and that wouldn't be good. So, but nah, Patches left them too soon. I mean, she was famous, but she left them soon enough to where they couldn't get any photos or pictures. All they had to do was talk about her.